of history, and we're often overlooked in a lot of positions. And so then to have us in leadership positions, a lot of people still don't like it. They don't. I know when I mean, walking into a room, that there are still levels of disrespect. I have city staff members who will walk, down a hallway and see me for, the first time in that day and not speak. But I think none of that matters in my world. I'm bringing it up to bring up a point. You have to be really strong and really grounded and have a pretty secure foundation to challenge white supremacy and white privilege at this level. And luckily and thankfully, I've come through 3 amazing women who helped me do that.
And your supporters, you said they're from all different backgrounds, and you're the mayor of all residents of Charlottesville. Mm-hmm. Describe to me how they have maybe changed in their support for you, all of those residents, or a majority of them for you, Mayor.
So, yeah, I am the mayor of all of Charlottesville, but I want to point out that all of Charlottesville didn't vote for me, and that there wasn't a call when council has been primarily white, and there had been a white mayor for them to represent all of Charlottesville, because if it had been, we wouldn't have the major disparities in health, wealth, education, mass incarceration that we have today. So I was clear during my platform, what my focal points would be. And I did have, and I still do have, a wide base of people who support me. And those individuals are very comfortable, no matter what, their income levels or the color of their skin. They're really comfortable with us finally getting down to the truth of the matter that the entire nation has to face. And then, of course, there are other people who are not supportive at all, and probably never will be, but this isn't about them. So it's very easy for me to focus on whether your garbage is picked up on time and to send in a message to make sure a street is paved. So that almost takes no time away from the real work of making sure our criminal justice system is reformed and that people have adequate housing and their kids are sent to schools and that they're educated. So I can do both.
That's where the rubber hits the road. That's what mayors do each and every day. Mayor Nakia Walker, I do hope, Mayor, that it's a nice, quiet weekend, a peaceful weekend for you there in Charlottesville. Thank you for spending the time with us. I know it's busy.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Next, avoiding the so-called perjury trap. How the Trump legal team's trying to save the president from his very own words. But is a subpoena now coming down the pike?
Love.
I got you, baby.
It's being there when you're needed most.
That's the one.
Love is knowing it was meant to be. And love always keeps you safe. Love is why we built a car you can trust for a long time. The all-new Subaru Impreza sedan and 5-door. A car you can love, no matter what road you're on. The Subaru Impreza. More than a car, it's a Subaru. Right now, get 0% APR financing on the 2018 Subaru Impreza.
You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else. Why accept it from your allergy pills? Flonase Sensimist relieves all your worst symptoms, including nasal congestion, which most pills don't. And all from a gentle mist you can barely feel. Flonase Sensimist.
No. Cancel, please.
Being in the know is a good thing. That's why Discover will alert you if your social security number is found on any one of thousands of risky sites.
I'm Lisa. Definitely would like to meet someone special.
Looking for a real relationship?
So I definitely would like to find a long-term relationship. Somebody who is smart, who has an excellent sense of humor. Can't wait to meet you. Bye.
Check out Match right now for free.
When you bundle your auto and home insurance with Esurance, you can save with their single deductible. So if you confuse the brake with the gas, or if your lamppost jumped out of nowhere, or if you forgot your bike was on the roof rack, you only pay one deductible instead of two for a claim involving both your auto and home. And when you save that much, it's almost like it never even happened. That's auto and home insurance for the modern world. Esurance, an Allstate company. Click or call.
Family taco night is a heartburn night you can plan for. But surprise pizza at the office means heartburn you didn't expect. Zantac works when you need it. It relieves or prevents heartburn in as little as 30 minutes and lasts up to 12 hours. Zantac. Eat your way, treat your way.
I'm Dara Khosrowshahi, Uber's new CEO. Since joining 9 months ago, my priority has been to listen to you, to cities and communities, and to my own employees. I've seen a lot of good. We've changed the way people get around. We've provided new opportunities. But moving forward, it's time to move in a new direction. And I want you to know just how excited I am to write Uber's next chapter with you. One of our core values as a company is to always do the right thing. And if there are times when we fall short, we commit to being open, taking responsibility for the problem, and fixing it. This begins with new leadership and a new culture. And you're going to see improvements to our service, like enhanced background checks, 24/7 customer support, better pickups, and ride quality for both riders and drivers. And you've got my word that we're charting an even better road for Uber and for those that rely on us every day.
We have a bunch of questions. Have we ever seen anything like that before in American governance? Did this thing actually end? Is it still going on? Am I asking the right questions here? That's the heart of the matter, right? Should those dots be connected? Do I have that right? Am I right to see it that way? How are we supposed to know? What do you make of that decision? Is that accurate? What does that sound like to you? Is that weird? What does that mean? Sounds a little nuts, right? Is it fair to say? What's going on with that? Why is this happening? Why is that? Why is that? Why is that? Lots more to get to tonight. Stay with us.
Rudy Giuliani making some headlines during a media blitz just this week. Wednesday, Giuliani gave the special counsel a deadline of September 1st to finish his investigation. Then on Friday, Giuliani stepped in with Jay Sekulow to guest host Sean Hannity's radio show, 3 hours counting. Some have questioned these decisions and others, including Vanity Fair's Abigail Tracy, who wrote an article titled "Giuliani's Screwball Legal Strategy is More Dangerous Than It Seems." Abigail here with us. So I know you chose your words very carefully. First of all, screwball, and then dangerous. So what is screwball and what is dangerous?
Well, I think, as we've watched Giuliani make continuous rounds on cable news shows, and he's really become a denizen of green rooms, I think what you've really seen is him sort of continually stretching and becoming a bit more unhinged in his statements and sort of the claims that he's making. And I think in a huge part of it, it's, not even just a legal strategy so much as a PR strategy. It's him kind of taking advantage of the silence of the special counsel, Robert Mueller, and kind of using his opportunity in these interviews and while speaking with reporters to really try to shape a public narrative to help his client down the line.
So I called him once when he was first brought into this position as the Royal Court's food tester. Ergo, he's trying messages out, what sticks, what doesn't, and then potentially that is brought into the very communication strategy. Your thought?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that. A lot of it seems to be testing the waters and shifting the goalposts to see what the reaction has been. And I do think, you are seeing it reflected in polls, showing erosion of the trust in Robert Mueller over time, just because, the special counsel is speaking through indictments. They're not out there on the airwaves defending the investigation, but Rudy Giuliani really is out there kind of continuously poisoning the well and, picking different strategies and narratives that suit him and suit Trump.
Not only different, but, the goalposts, as folks will call it. You say that part of the strategy is, okay, now this is what we want. Oh, and then next week we're going to say, no, that's not what we want, something else.
Right, absolutely. I think, the conversation around collusion and whether it's a crime is a perfect example of that. But also when we're looking at, these ongoing negotiations over the interview, that's happening as well. He's saying, oh, we're open to this. We're absolutely open to an interview. But really the things that they're rejecting and the types of questions that they're rejecting are central to figuring out whether Donald Trump obstructed justice, in the firing of James Comey and some of these other actions that he's taken as president.
He seems to be open to anything. As he was hosting the show with Jay Sekulow, as we were alluding to earlier, when some callers were asking about should there be special investigations into, for instance, Hillary Clinton and former President Barack Obama for abuse of power, he said in responses, I would agree with you. It is crying out for an investigation.
Yeah, one of the really interesting things is when you talk to, veterans of DOJ or other lawyers, they I've asked them about this, second special counsel thing, and really the only reason you appoint a special counsel is if you don't believe that the DOJ can independently and without bias investigate some of these things. And I don't necessarily think that Jeff Sessions at DOJ, needs another special counsel if there are actual issues to investigate.
All right, great, Abigail. Thank you. Let's now bring in former federal prosecutor and law professor at University of Memphis, Stephen Mulroy. Thanks for being with us, Stephen, so far. Is there still a chance the president voluntarily interviews with Robert Mueller, given the strategies that we were just talking about with Abigail about what Giuliani is suggesting, basically saying it's not probably going to happen?
It's looking less and less likely that there'll be any voluntary interview involving the president. As you just heard, they have been moving the goalposts. The conditions that they've been erecting towards any kind of a voluntary interview just keep changing and getting more demanding. It really seems like the only way this is going to happen is if Mueller issues a subpoena.
You were listening to Abigail as well when she, as her headline describes, that her assertion is that their strategy is screwball, her words. Constitutional law professor Harry Littman says enough is enough. It's time to subpoena the president. Final option, last play, that's it?
I would agree. I mean, it doesn't seem a good option for Mueller to conclude the investigation without trying to speak to Trump. There are really important issues about Trump's own state of mind and the sequence of events, particularly with respect to the obstruction of justice inquiry, that can only be finally concluded if Mueller has a chance to actually speak to Trump and ask questions one-on-one. Not in writing, but in a real-time interview in which you can follow up on his answers if there are any evasive or incomplete answers. The only way to do that, it looks like, is to go with a subpoena. Applicable Supreme Court precedent